I feel like the thing you're gonna say you didn't like is something I liked.
I think you're gonna fuck. I know it. I know it's going to be
What
that fucking tassel jacket. Oh.
I loved the tassel jacket.
I was like, it makes her look so wide. Ooh, wait. No.
Listen. Listen. Wait.
I hate you for that.
Let me fix it. He's a fashionista. Look at this.
The Devil Wears who? Devil Wears who?
Is that a vest?
It's a vest.
What? Okay. Wait a second. Delon. The arms.
I mean,
the sweater arms.
Ooh,
if you got a long sleeve, class, if you got a long sleeve on and we can see bicep, you fine.
You know what? I need all that today because my friend was like, "Hey, let's go to this like little dance party where like it's leathery, so everyone's wearing a harness. It's like a little queer party." And I was like, "I don't know if we're in that shape yet, but the weather is nice here, so
okay,
it's time. People can be outside."
Okay, well, let's get into it. Welcome back to Let Me Fix It, the podcast that says
Convivial.
Put that down. I'm Francesca Ramsey. I'm a TV writer, an actress, and a social media consultant.
And I'm Delon Grant. I'm an actor, a singer, photographer, writer, and an educator. And I think you should continue to make those little edits of the pod because that is a great callback.
Let me just say, I did not make that one. That comes to us from Marvella, a listener who just sent me a screen recording. There was no explanation, class. If you are not caught up, last week Delon used the SAT word convivial, which means friendly. Convivial. Sorry. Thank you, Professor Grant. Means friendly, lively, and enjoyable. And we started riffing about how it also could be somebody's name.
It sounds like a cousin. It sounds like your cousin. It really does.
So if you would like to send us a tagline, again, very creative on Marvella's part. Thank you, because it did make both of us laugh. But you can also send us a voice note or one by text to our email at lemmefixitpod@gmail.com. And we might include your tagline right here on the show.
I really love, Marvella, that you were like, "Hey, I'm going to just speak in Let Me Fix It language," right? This is how they do. This is how we do here in the class. So very, very cute. Class, spoiler alert. We are talking, as we led in with the intro here, we are talking about Devil Wears Prada 2 today, which just dropped in theaters over the weekend. Fran and I have both watched it. We haven't done a movie review in a minute, which is why I wanted to do this, Francesca. But as you know, we're going to talk about everything. Yes. So if you have not watched the movie, please pause. If you really don't care, sit down, because we have spoilers for sure. But not too crazy. I think we could talk around it a little bit.
Yeah, and I think we should dig into it, but I will also say, class, remember, I always put a little chapters breakdown in the description box. So if you want to skip the Devil Wears Prada conversation and just go to post, you can go ahead and do that and then come back to class and lock in after you've actually watched the film. So this is where the spoilers come. So let's dive in. Delon, off the jump, what did you think of The Devil Wears Prada 2?
You know, I'm giving this a 6 out of 10. I'm giving this a 6 out of 10.
That's fair. We didn't need it.
Nothing. We didn't. Nobody asked for it. It's like, it's
the fans did. The fans
really?
Asked. There is like a strong devil. Yeah, I mean, 20 years later is excessive. They've been asking for it for a minute. I didn't feel we needed it, but please continue.
Yeah, I just we didn't need it. And I don't know if it was my attention span, if I'm honest, but I just she's moving slow. She's moving so slow.
It was 2 hours long.
Am I dozing off? The kid next to me kept picking up his phone. I was going to hit him with something. But yeah, it just was really slow. And I mean, I will say it did. If you are a fan, it does hit the points. There are little gems that they leave in for you that you remember from. I'm a big fan of the first film, own it on DVD, right? I've seen it a million times. So there's certain gems that they left in there, you know.
They call that fan service. Fan
Fan
service.
service.
Yes,
That
it's
sounds a little saucy to me,
it
but
does it does it does sound sexual. It's the idea that like there are certain things that are embedded in the film specifically catered to people who loved the first movie. So like if
yeah.
you did not love the first movie, this is not for you. And if you did love the first movie, I think it's just I just thought it was fine. I just thought it was fine.
Yeah, it was okay. It was okay. I mean, the thing that I left uh the theater thinking is I'm glad I saw it. I'm glad I had the
Mm.
cultural reference. The hard part is like I was like I could have done something else with my time, which is never
Mhm.
a good thing because we already know movies and TV are struggling at the moment, right?
Mhm.
Let's get
It was
into exactly
$22.
girl. And then I went to Alamo Draft House. A big fan of Alamo Draft House. Class, if you haven't been, but Alamo
Mhm.
Draft House, you get food at the
Mhm.
table. So I was also like, damn, I paid damn near $70 to see this movie. You
You
know?
and I are twins because I went to the dinner theater too. I had me some little chicken fingers. They were not very good.
Oh
The
God,
movie wasn't good.
I
The chicken
had I
fingers
had.
weren't good.
You're like reclaiming my time. Shit. I had a fried chicken burger or sandwich, whatever,
Oh.
with some gochujang on there. Girl, you know what you know about that gochujang? Ooh, damn, that shit was good.
I'm crying because you know what I have with my chicken fingers? I had a Thai chili sauce. We were having the same. We were
We
having
really
like
were.
that is so funny.
That is so funny.
Okay, so wait, let's dive in. Let's start
Yeah.
with what do you think worked with the Devil Wears Prada 2?
You know what? So I'll give the screenwriter, I don't know her name, we should look her up, but I will
Mhm.
give the screenwriter a lot of kudos because I think the big question when you go into something like this is how do you solve the problem of getting Andy, the Anne Hathaway
Mhm.
character, back into the runway office, right? Because
Mhm.
that's the whole engine of the film. Oh my
Yes.
God, there's a problem. There's this fish out of water that comes
Yes.
and becomes this, ugly duckling becomes a princess, right?
Yes.
So that worked really well. I thought there was like, Andy's out here. She's really successful on her own as a journalist, but she happens to be fired as she's getting this journalism award. And Miranda, who's played by Meryl Streep in Runway, they have some viral moment that they have to do some kind of PR stunt to get
Yeah,
over.
she gets exposed for using like a sweatshop for some
Oh, that's
project
it,
that
which is
Runway
apropos
did.
to the fashion industry.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that like getting her and Andy comes back into the office to help write articles, right? That worked really well.
Mm.
That was one thing. I thought the fashions, the fashions, the fashions. But you know what?
Yeah.
I have some critiques on the fashions. What get there?
Oh,
What we
okay.
didn't like? I have some. I mean,
Okay.
what do I know about fashion? But I mean, you know,
He
um,
wears one cowl neck and suddenly he's Miranda.
it is just a cowl neck, isn't it? You dug that old dusty cowl neck out your closet. Yeah, so I thought that worked really well. That's
Mhm.
kind of my highlight. Well, I'll give you one more before I pass it over to you. Emily Blunt is the best thing in both of these films. I don't care what
Okay.
you say. I think
Yeah.
she's just brilliant. She understands the character. She understands comedic
She's
timing.
hilarious.
She's just fucking great. Yeah, I really
Yeah.
dug her. So those are my two highlights. You have what do you think worked really well?
Yeah, okay, I gotta say, the first movie for me was fine. I know it is like a cultural mainstay. People love the movie. I was kind of like, eh. But I gotta say, I watched this movie and I was like, Anne Hathaway is a goddamn delight. Every scene,
Yeah.
I just felt like she just lit up the screen. I just like her. I just really like
Yeah.
her.
She's
And
she's one of those America sweethearts, isn't she?
she really is. Like every scene, I was just like, "Oh, I want to hang out with her. I like her.
Totally.
She's so sweet and cool and just like effortless." And I really thought she did a great job. I actually really loved the fashions. Simone Ashley, who is Miranda's new assistant, my God, her face could launch 1,000 ships.
Yeah, it really
Now
could Helen of Troy.
she is gorgeous. Now they didn't give her much to say, but
Well, and there's the rub. I feel like this poor woman, everyone goes, God, Simone Ashley is so beautiful.
she's
And she is.
beautiful.
But she was cut from that Brad Pitt F1 Formula
Yeah.
One movie, which was a
Yeah.
really big travesty.
Yeah.
And they didn't give her much to say. She was just wearing beautiful costumes, walking around, right?
They really did. They really underused her. But she is beautiful. Every single outfit she had on, I was like tens across the board.
Totally.
That was about it for me.
She went,
um,
I'm searching.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
listen,
I mean, yeah, yeah. I mean,
well,
listen, Meryl
and
Streep is incredible. She's an incredible
she
actress. Stanley
is.
Tucci
She
is
is.
great, but I mean, if we're gonna talk about what didn't work, your point about how they brought Andy in, to me, I just felt like it was all a little too convenient. And there weren't enough obstacles. Like I wanted to see, especially since in the first film, Andy kind of leaves like, I don't need the fashion industry. And then this one, she gets offered a job and she's like, okay, yeah, I'm right back. Like, yes, she lost her job, but there was no real resistance. Like everything just kind of fell into place. And I just did not care about Runway merging and Miranda not getting a job. I was just like, I don't care. I don't care about any of these things. Like, it
Yeah.
just doesn't feel, the stakes aren't high enough. And I also felt like their relationship, again, as much as I love Anne Hathaway, I wanted to see her kind of put her foot down. Like Miranda is so nasty to her. And I wanted her to be like, bitch, you need me more than I need you. Like I wanted her to like stand
Mm.
up for herself. And she kind of was just like,
She fell back into like the trope of the character. Yeah. Yeah.
I just, right. Like it's been 20 years. She's had this very successful career. She knows she's a great writer, even though her articles class, she is kind of brought in to smooth things over after they've had this backlash with the sweatshop scandal. She
And
writes
write
these
like hard
articles
hitting articles that
and
are
yeah,
like poignant and significant.
yes, and she does that, and and everyone says the articles are good, and Miranda's still kind of like whatever. And I just really wanted Andy to like stand up for herself. Again, everything just felt so low stakes. Even when she decides that she wants to interview Lucy Liu, she just makes some phone calls and then she gets to interview her. She's like, oh,
Yeah.
I need to interview her. Boop, 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 boop. Great, I got it. Like what? It just
I
like she
mean,
just got her number and that was it.
I think one of the things that, like, adjacent to what you're talking about, is there were a lot of specific things in the first film that they really just continued into the second film. Meaning they
Mm-hmm.
expanded on some character things, right? Like Andy had her own very successful career. She's winning an award for journalism as
Mm-hmm.
we open the movie, but like she fell back into the trope of like, I'm really scared of you. You're a big deal. Versus, to your
Mm-hmm.
point, I've actually grown and you need me. I think that's a really good call out. I think one of the other things I will say is that, like, the idea that Andy doesn't have any fashion sense or needs some help therein isn't really a storyline, but that's
No.
kind of what Stanley Tucci's foil-ish character
Mm-hmm.
was in the first film.
Mm-hmm.
So he's kind of there, and because he was there in the first film, but he doesn't
Yeah,
really have much meat on the bone. You
he
know what I mean?
doesn't.
He's not tutoring Andy or anything like that. So I'm with you on that. I'll also say they really, and I want to hear your opinion on this. I thought they tried to humanize Miranda in some ways. Like in
Yes.
the first film, it was her family, it was her
Mm-hmm.
kids, it was her
Mm-hmm.
her broken down marriage, right? But in this one, she has all more emotions. You're seeing more of who
Yes.
she is, which I don't know. To contradict what I was saying before, I don't know that it worked.
It
It
doesn't
was like,
work.
no, you're just like a big overbearing character. You're a
Yeah.
villain almost.
Yes, and I felt like their attempts to humanize her also fell flat when it's like, oh my God, she doesn't know how to hang up her own coat. Like they were trying to do this thing where it was like, it's been 20 years and she's not allowed to talk to the staff the way she used to, right?
There
Like
was an HR moment. Yeah.
there was an HR moment. So Simone Ashley was there being like, you can't, say the thing about plus size people and you can't say the thing about self-harm and like whatever. And then it's like, oh my God, she has to put up her own coat. And it's just like, all of this is just falling flat to me. And I even felt like the moment where Andy and Miranda team up, I was just like, I don't buy this and I don't care. There was not enough friction for it to feel earned. Like I wanted some sort of, rupture and repair, right? The thing that Delon says all the
Mm.
time. I wanted them to have some big blowout where Miranda realizes, you're right. I fucked up and I cannot do this without you. Please, I'm so sorry. If you can help me save the magazine, I will give you an amazing position, and then they're like, great, we're going to do it. And instead, it's just like let's do it. And then we're going to make a bunch of phone calls. And I'm like, the other thing is I am
Right,
tired of
right.
seeing
And
fucking
Andy
phone
made all the phone
calls.
calls.
I don't
Right.
want to
It's
watch a
really
movie that's just a montage of phone calls. Like, show me the action. So much
yeah.
action happens on the phone. Like, who was she talking to when she was calling all those people? I'm like, don't you
Right,
have
because we never
homegirl's
saw who
number
was on
now?
the other line. We don't know who was on the other end of the line, right?
Yeah. Yeah. What didn't work for you, Delon?
I mean, well, I think kind of encapsulating a lot of what you're talking about, we're no longer in a, like, zoom out, as I like to say, we're no
Mm-hmm.
longer at a point in society, I don't think, where like we can look at media, I don't know, media, I'll leave it there, and think aspirationalism is something we want, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first film is very aspirational. Fashion is very aspirational.
Yeah.
Capitalism,
Yeah.
aspirational. The
Yeah.
dream, yes, I want to be able to spend $1,000 on a jacket. That's ridiculous. But like,
Mm-hmm.
this is what the aspirational feature. We're not at a point in the world when we're at war, when we have tariffs, where we have this president, where we can't
Or
afford anything,
unemployment. Yeah.
where gas is $7,000 a gallon, right? We
Yeah.
can't we don't see anything as attainable. We don't see these things as tangible that we can hold on to
Mm-hmm.
because we're in
Mm-hmm.
survival mode. So that also made me feel like, okay, it doesn't feel timely. It doesn't
Yes.
feel like it's moving
Yes.
me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and if it were 10 years ago, I think perhaps we were still there, but I just don't think America and like the West are
Yeah.
there. So
Yeah.
that didn't work for me. The Emily Blunt character, I love Emily Blunt. I love Emily playing Emily in this character
Mm-hmm.
in this series. She's like goes to Dior, and now she's this big fashion head at Dior, and that's how they rope her back into Runway. So, class, spoiler alert, she ends up, when Runway's going down the tubes, her
Yeah.
boyfriend is supposed to buy Runway. Okay, plot device, whatever, whatever. But then she is like, undercutting Miranda and Andy, and then at the end of the film they just go, girl, let's sit down to lunch. That was crazy when I tried to betray you, didn't it? Wasn't that
Yeah.
fucking fucked up when I tried to
Yeah.
cut you at the knees? And
Yeah.
I'm like,
And
forgiveness doesn't work like that. I would not even want to be, I wouldn't piss on you if you were on fire if you did some shit like that to me.
yeah, I had a similar feeling. I felt like also the big betrayal of, class. There's this moment where, Emily and Andy team up and they say, we're going to ask my rich boyfriend to buy Runway, and that will solve, this consolidation thing that's happening. And they're cutting all these jobs. And then at the last minute, she's like, just kidding. I'm going to take over Runway. My boyfriend bought it for me. And there's this moment that's, I guess the implication is that there was some sort of, that the circumstances around Emily leaving Runway were bad. But
Miranda
we
pushed
never,
her out. She's like, you
but,
pushed me out. And
but we never find out like what it, again, this is the thing of like, show us. Don't tell
yeah.
us like, oh, it was bad. Miranda has this great line where she says, you're not an innovator. You're a, what did she say? You're like a
Oh, that
retailer.
was a good line.
I forget what that's.
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
can't even remember. It wasn't that good, I guess. But like, they have this moment, and again, it just doesn't feel earned. That's the time that like,
Yeah.
give us a flashback. Give us a flashback and show
Yeah.
us how, Miranda did something really terrible to Emily and fired her, or Emily walked out and she said, I'm never coming back here. Or she did the thing where she said, if I come back in here, I'm going to be in your fucking seat. You know what I mean? Something.
Mm-hmm.
So that when it
Mm-hmm.
happens, she goes, this is exactly what I told you I was going to do. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something. But instead, it was just, and even that, like, it is kind of like tropey in the sense that like the villain usually gets a big speech where like when the villain explains like why I'm doing the thing. Like that's what I wanted from her. I was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah. That was, like I would have rolled my eyes internally a little bit, just being a practitioner,
Mhm.
writer, actor, whatever. But you're right. We expect the villain to have a moment where they talk about why they did the thing that they did. It doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily humanize them necessarily, but it lets us, the audience, in on the action, right? So
It
I'm
does
with
kind of
you on that.
humanize them. It does kind of humanize them a little bit. Like I use the example of Killmonger from Black Panther. Like he's the villain. But when you understand like why he's stealing from all these
That's just really well
museums,
written. Come on,
I
Coogler. That's just
hello,
really well
Ryan
written.
Coogler, great writing. But again, a great writer is going to make you hear what the villain has to say, and you go,
Yeah.
I mean, I can't
Maybe he has a
really.
point.
Right, and this really has the great foundation because Miranda is a fucking bitch. She is terrible
Right.
to everyone that works with her, and I feel like that could have also set us up really nicely between Andy and Miranda, because if Emily gave this great speech about why she did it, and then Andy looks at Miranda and she goes, "You really fucking did that? Why
I
you didn't learn?
know.
You didn't learn anything from
Right.
when I was here." You were shitty to Stanley Tucci. You were shitty to me. Emily sacrificed everything for you. You know what? Fuck you. You're on your own. And then Miranda's like, shit. Now, if
Yeah.
I want to save this
Nah.
magazine, I have to do it on my own.
And you have to go back and scrape those people back. Then you have
Right.
something to work for and toward. One of the other
Right.
things I really didn't enjoy is the number of cameos that were in this. Like there was Lucy
This?
Liu does a pretty decent job in the movie. She's actually a pretty
Yeah.
a character that things turn on. But I mean, Lady Gaga was in this.
Yeah.
Heidi Klum was in it. Law Roach, Donatella
Wisdom
Versace.
K from TikTok was in there.
Wisdom
and
K was in there. It was just too
yeah, there was
many.
a lot.
And like there was
Kara
a whole
Swisher.
montage.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kara Swisher, just a whole montage of cameos, which was like save that time for Emily's speeches you're talking about, right? Like
Hello.
that's wasted space. That's wasted
Now, you know
footage if
what?
you're-
That's a perfect segue to say, cut the fucking love interest. He was so boring. They had
Why
no
was he
chemistry.
there?
I
None.
think
He didn't have any chemistry. He was uninteresting.
he was so boring. I think they had him there again. This is fan service because everybody hated Adrian, what's his name, as the boyfriend in the first one.
Really?
Because he was so unsupportive of her career, he was like kind of shitty to her, and like he just wasn't a good boyfriend. So I think that the writers or the writer was like, okay, we're going to give her a great boyfriend who really loves her and is really interested in her, and like they have a little fight where Andy's kind of in the wrong in the
She's
fight.
a jerk to him. Yeah.
She's a jerk to him, but like he's like, if you're ever ready to, talk to me again, let me know. And I'm just like, go away. Give us, I would have
Absolutely.
rather have had more character development for Andy. Cause she just kind of is like this the whole movie. She doesn't go anywhere.
I would have loved to have had her have more conflict with Tracy Tom, who's her really good friend, who's the art person.
Oh, the art
So
girl.
they brought Tracy Tom, who was in the first film as well. But they had a whole kind of conflict in the first film.
Yeah.
Tracy, her character now has a baby, and like you see
a big ass apartment.
A big ass apartment. Wait, we'll talk. Put it in the apartment for a second. But like that would have been more interesting, right? Like she doesn't really. She didn't need him. She really didn't need him. It would have been more interesting to see what if Tracy Tom's character was going through something and Andy had to help her. That humanizes and shows you another side. Maybe she has to give her some tough love or something like that, right?
Well, to your point about that, she needs to help her, and maybe it's the thing of like she kind of lets her down in service of Runway and Miranda. And it's like, I've been the friend to you. And now here you are, not show like, she has an art show or she needs a connection at Runway or something. And Andy drops the ball.
That's the plot of that's the first film. That's exactly what happens in the first film.
Well, yeah, then I don't remember. You know what I'm also thinking of? I will also say two things. Rachel Bloom is so underutilized in this movie. Cut out the boyfriend, that she's the book friend who like tries to get Andy to get write a book about Miranda.
Oh God, you saw it all over my face. I was like, who is that?
Oh, so
Rachel?
she's only,
I don't know who she is.
Oh my God, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend? Delon, this is a great, it's a great show.
I saw some musical theater stuff from it though.
It's really, really good. It's kind of like a cult classic, like one of those shows that I don't feel like it got a Golden Globe, I think a few times. It didn't get like as big as it probably should have, but it's really good. Rachel Bloom is super funny. She's a great writer. She can sing. I mean, she's really a star, and she is criminally underused in this film. Yeah. I would have loved to see a relationship with them. The book thing could have been, again, that should have been more of a heightened like, they kind of, it was a throwaway, like, hey, they're going to give you $300,000
Yeah.
for this book. And then she was like, no, I'm not going to do it. And it, like, there needed to be some sort of, things get really bad with Miranda. And Andy's like, fuck you, I am going to write this book. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
or something. And then the
And
other
and
one,
those story dominoes were there. Sorry, no,
mhm,
just adding on to that. Those story dominoes were there, but to your point, they just didn't go deep enough for me to go,
no,
ooh, what are the stakes? Continue.
it makes me think, to your point though, about the dominoes being there, it makes me think that they were in the film and they cut them. Because it just
Oh
feels like,
yeah.
why was this teased and then there was no resolution? Like, it just was
A
very
lot of people were
strange.
cut. Anna Wintour was cut. Sydney Sweeney
Yeah,
was cut.
sure. Yeah, and I agree with y'all on that one. But you know what I'm also going to say?
Yeah.
Caleb Heron plays Miranda's first assistant. He is so fucking funny and he is criminally underused. And I will also say, as the only like plus size person in the film, I think it's really fucked up that they were like, you don't get to stand. You have to sit the whole
They stuck him
time. You're not.
behind a desk.
They
Yeah.
stuck him behind a desk. And to me, that felt like they tried to make a joke about it, but it felt like an unintentional, like, okay, look, we're going to put a different sized body in the film, but we do not want you to see all of his body. And like,
Right, right.
he didn't get to make any jokes. He just was this kind of like very toned down. It was just, he's so funny.
Class, if you don't know Caleb Heron, he is a comedian. He also has a great podcast. I've seen him on a bunch of podcasts. And to
Mhm.
Friend's point, he's very, very funny. This was like supremely underwhelming. Every time he
Yeah.
came up on screen, I was like, bleh. Like it just fell so flat. And to your
Yeah.
point, they're just like I felt like it was a Megan Stalter and Hacks kind of moment,
They
but
wanted
not
it to be
nearly.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it just like maybe they didn't give him time to improv or I don't know.
Well,
I
they
don't know.
cut
It would
it.
have been or they cut it. You're right. But it was just like anybody could have done that. Why did you hire this specific funny actor to do this? Listen, I'm glad you got a
Yeah.
payday though, Caleb.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got
Hello.
paid because
Yes. And
that's few and far between out here.
may this open many doors for Caleb. And look, he's been doing really well. He has a special on HBO that came out last year, and
Yeah.
his podcast has done really well. But I think, when you mentioned all those cameos, if we had cut those cameos, we would have had time to give Caleb, and he didn't, and look, he is a small character, but I feel like he could have gotten like one really scene stealing moment. You mentioned Meg Stalter. I don't think initially they on Hacks had anticipated that she was going to become this like crucial part of Hacks. She was like a very
Right.
minor character that just like stole every scene that she was in. And having worked with Meg Stalter, I know she does a lot of improv on set. And I feel that that's what they needed. You know what? And look, Devil Wears Prada producers, if you're watching, I know you are, give us a blooper reel of Caleb saying a bunch of funny stuff. Put that shit on Instagram and
Yeah.
and use that to like
The
drum
deleted
up.
scenes.
I'm sure there's a bunch of moments of him saying funny shit. Because if the whole thing is that he's not allowed to leave the desk, let him talk about how he had to pee in a garbage can. I don't know. Let him just be silly.
I completely agree. I couldn't agree more. And I think I also say this, zooming out from him, there are just too many fucking assistants. There's Ashley
Yeah.
Simone as assistant, or Simone Ashley, excuse me. She got two first names. Simone Ashley, Caleb Heron. And then there's also Jin Chow, who is
People were not happy about that.
Jin Chow, who is Andy's assistant, and people are really upset about this character, mainly because she functions like a Asian stereotype, bordering on racist. Some people said their words, not mine, but I agree. Like she's an archetype, and there are archetypes of Asian nerds. There are archetypes of every type of nerd, but Asians kind of get pinholed into this specifically. She talks about having a 3-point GPA, going to Yale, getting a 3600 ACT the first time, and my biggest thing about all of it is in 2026. You are not going to hire an assistant that looks that frumpy for a fashion magazine, given what social media is. What you would go to this person's Instagram and go, what does she wear? And so
Right.
the idea that they had her not only being a nerd, but being that frumpy dumpy, I was like, I
Mhm.
don't buy it because that other assistant is banging. Even Caleb behind that fucking ass desk had a
Mhm.
couple fits
Got a
on. You know what I
brooch.
mean?
Mhm.
Okay. Some prangs.
You know what would have been
Yeah,
very interesting, Delon, to kind of flip that? We're into the fix now, class, if you haven't realized it
totally.
already. What would have been fun to flip that stereotype on its head and to make it more 2026 timely? Instead of being the nerd who went to Yale, what if she was like the influencer who had a ton of followers but had never worked a job before? So she like had the visual of a fashionista. They're like, listen, it's 2026. We have to hire and we have to work with influencers, which is like a mild storyline.
Brilliant.
And then she's
Brilliant.
the assistant who's like, she's like, hey guys, get ready with me to be this. And Andy's like, can you like do your job? She's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and like maybe she's live streaming in the middle of like a really important meeting and like that blows up somehow. You know what I mean? And like, and give
Well, she's
her,
helping the magazine because
right.
we've talked about this on the pod because this is another storyline. Print media, we all know,
Mm-hmm.
class is dying if not dead,
Mm-hmm.
and so what's going to help Runway? Oh, getting a bunch of influencers who
Yeah.
have a big following who can make content.
Yes.
Content creation is another thing that I think was missed. Right?
Mm-hmm.
They really do try to talk about print media, but
Yeah.
they don't actually offer the solve for it. They go,
Yeah.
God, well, print is dying. What is our solve? We're going to get Andy back and she's going to write some really heartwarming articles and people are going to
Yeah.
like them. But what if nobody's seeing them?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's like they tried to make a commentary and they just didn't go deep enough. Something that you said that I thought would have made for an interesting fix. This idea that like, yeah, people aren't spending, not that people aren't spending the money, but like the way we look at celebrity and excess and aspirational fashion is very different right now. And I feel like that could have
Mm,
been an interesting pivot that Andy could have made. Andy could have been like, yeah, because nobody can afford $1,000 bags. Like, why don't we do something about thrifting? Why don't we do something about the resurgence
yeah.
of secondhand? Because she talks about how she found something secondhand. Like, that's an that I feel like could have been really interesting because the secondhand market, there's been a lot of blowback where you can't go to Goodwill anymore and find something special. Like people go to Goodwill, take the great stuff, and then they go resell it, upsell it on Rent the
Wow.
Runway and Poshmark. And like, this is a recession indicator. Like you can't even thrift anymore.
Wow.
like
Wow.
that would have been interesting. And I just feel like they were trying to do too many things instead of like
Yeah.
really getting laser focused about the story they were trying to tell and who these
Yeah.
people are 20 years later. And it just felt like I just like even at the end, I was like, great, is this over?
I know, I know. One of the things I actually would have liked to have I would fix is I wanted Emily Blunt's character to actually have some fucking kids. I wanted her to
She
be
said
a
she had.
working
She
mom.
said she had two.
See, look, completely
Mm,
missed that. But I would
yeah.
love to see her actually in the midst of being a working mom. That's very
Mm-hmm.
2026,
Mm-hmm.
Like, why is she just off in Milan? Wait, you're right. She did have a conversation with her
Mm-hmm.
daughter and her
Yeah.
ex-husband or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was just it was just so lost. She just seemed like so uninterested and not there. I would have loved to have seen her in her fucking house working
Yeah.
with kids, right? I think that's more, especially being a millennial nostalgic
Mm-hmm.
piece. That's where we are in life. People have kids and have jobs and 401ks and shit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's an interesting thing of like, the working mom who's on social media showing that she has it all, but then like the reality is she has like a nanny and a night nurse and, a
And
private
a
chef.
popsicle like stuck in her hair, a lollipop stuck in her hair, right? Right,
All
right.
right, so let's finish by asking Delon, would you recommend this film to folks, members of the class, if you're out and about at the bar and someone's like, "Did you see the new Devil Wears Prada too?" What would you say?
I for I think for social currency, for what you just said, yeah, to be able to
Mm.
talk about it. I mean, before we were going to see it, I probably was going to wait till it went on streaming, if I'm honest.
Mhm, mhm,
But yeah, if you want for social currency, if you have nothing to do on a Friday night, if you're going to get
mhm,
together with the girls to do so, it is
mhm.
that kind of movie, right? It
Yeah.
is. You can text like the kid was next to me while you're watching it because you won't miss very
You won't miss
much,
anything.
Yeah, yeah. So go see it if you want, but I'm not. It's not a must see. I don't think it's a must
Mhm,
see. How
mhm.
are you on that?
I'm gonna say, do not go to the theaters to see this. This is something you watch on a plane. You got 2 hours to kill.
Mm.
You're going from New York to Florida. Watch The Devil Wears Prada 2. The flight will fly by. I don't think you should spend money to see this movie or see it when it comes out on streaming, you know? But like,
Yeah.
it's just, again, I will say in the big scheme of like legacy sequels, it's not offensive. Like, I didn't leave the theater
No.
like angry. I just was kind of like, that was fine. That was fine.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a palate cleanser. It wasn't, it
Hmm.
was like you said, if the fans wanted it, they were like, here, take it. The the other thing I'll say is like I really hate that we're saying this too, because we know what's
Mm,
happening to movies and we know what's happening to movie
yeah.
theaters in our industry. So it's sad when we're going, meh, you can wait till it comes on streaming because the industry is really trying to push people to go back to the theater, movie theaters in particular. So
Yeah.
I think they need to do a little bit better, and they're also really leaning on extant IP
Hmm.
meaning class intellectual property that is already owned by these studios. So we're going to see a
Yeah.
lot more Marvel movies than we've already been seeing. We've got a lot more sequels, a lot more live action things from Disney, which is like exhausting a little bit
Give
instead
us
of
new, I
spending
mean,
money.
to your point about the like, yes, the movie theaters are struggling. Yeah, because you're putting this film was very expensive. Okay, like
Oh
the
God,
Lady Gaga, the sets, going around the world, all that stuff, and then the Meryl, the Anne Hathaway, the Stanley Tucci, like everybody commanded a
these people are
huge
huge
salary.
stars now.
Huge stars, okay? You could have cut this up. We did not need this. And you could have put that money into some emerging filmmakers, some new talent. I mean,
Yeah,
that is again the lesson that we should be learning from heated rivalry, not to go down that path again. But like, we need new
before I start
stars.
swooning.
We need new stars. We need new
Yeah,
storytellers. You don't need
new
to spend
energy.
we don't need to spend a bajillion dollars. And like, even like the marketing of this film, this movie is everywhere. I mean, everywhere
Yeah.
you look, there are ads for this film. They are, they're recouping their costs because the film is doing very well. But it's like, word of mouth is the best thing you can do when you have a good project. Word of mouth will outpace any advertising
All
at
day.
all day. So just give us good freaking stories instead of being like,
Yeah.
we need big stars and we need IP and then we need ads everywhere you go. It's like you want to get people back to the movies. Give us interesting stories that are surprising and have real looking people. I mean, I will say that's what I liked about Anne Hathaway. The face looks amazing. But like it's got
Fantastic.
movement. She doesn't
Yeah.
look like
I
pulled.
mean,
She looks
she's had a little something, but
but it's
still,
but
it's
it's
good. It's
it's
tasteful.
it's
It's tasteful. Fran was like, I see you, girl. Tell me where you went.
listen, you need to talk to your friend Bradley Cooper, and you also
My
need to talk to
friend.
no, I'm talking saying Anne Hathaway needs to talk to him.
Anne Hathaway. Excuse me.
Anne Hathaway, and she also needs to talk to her friend. I don't know if she really knows him, Adam Levine from Maroon 5. He did the
And
bluff
Jim
too.
Carrey.
And Jim
Jim
Carrey. What?
Carrey.
Don't touch the bluff.
Slow
Leave it.
down. I mean, but
Keep your
even
bluff.
even listen, Chris Jenner's face has settled to the point where you go, oh,
Oh,
there
she
go
was
them crow's feet.
she was
Okay.
mad. I heard she was mad about it. I heard she stormed into that office and said, "I paid $100,000 for this bad boy, and it's already
Well, listen.
I keep on falling."
I'm dead. Oh, I'm dead. I'm so dead. I mean,
That is
one other
so
thing I want to
funny.
bring up with that before we move
Hmm.
on to the rest of the show that I did not like talking about the fashions, right?
Mm.
A lot of it was hit. Like their red carpet looks are very hit. Like, get it,
Mhm,
ladies,
mhm.
whoever's
Wait,
styling
what
you.
did I feel like the thing you're gonna say you didn't like is something I liked.
I think you're gonna fuck. I know it. I know it's going to be
What
that fucking
is
tassel jacket.
I
Oh,
loved I loved the
oh.
tassel jacket.
I was like, it makes her look so wide. And if you're gonna have tassels, I want to see him shake. I mean, she did shake him at one point. That was, but
I
like,
I loved
oh
I
my god.
I loved that fucking tassel
I know
jacket.
you read. Also, wait, the I don't know if it was a jacket or a whole fit, but she was
Mm.
like, she had something with like bulbs, like Christmas bulbs on there.
Oh no, Miranda or
Miranda,
Aunt.
yeah,
Oh,
Meryl
okay.
Streep's character, which I was also like,
No.
it's
Oh,
giving
I was gonna
cartoon.
say the dress that Andy wore to the Hamptons party was such a Francesca dress. It was like a long.
Oh my God. I'm so glad you said that, friend. When I watched the movie, I thought that immediately.
I said, yes, I will take two of those. I also really loved the outfit that she wears at Fashion Week. That's like she's got a smoky eye and it's like a sparkly top with like a tie and two like
Oh, the tie
straps.
over there. It's ties,
Oh,
bedazzled ties as
yes.
straps. It was really, really not only tasteful, but told a story. It was really,
Yeah.
really
And she had like
beautiful.
a
I
smoky
agree.
eye with it. She was like, I'm up to no good. Like I'm a cat burglar. I'm gonna scale a wall or something. She looked amazing.
You know what? When they were in Milan, I think it was in Milan. I was like, how the fuck do they get these clothes over here? Like, do they just have a trunk and they send it in advance? Like this, these are
You
some
mean
big fucking
in
clothes.
the movie in the movie universe or in like real life, you mean?
I mean, just in real life, both. But like, if you're going
Both.
to Fashion Week in Milan and you have
Mm-hmm.
like 7 shows to go to, do you
Mm-hmm.
just go to an Italian designer and go, "Hey, bring that," or do you have like your assistant bring a bunch of stuff from the States when you go?
Yeah, I've only gone to one fashion week in New York, and when I went to the Millie show and they dressed me. And so I went to Millie and like
Oh,
they let me pick whatever I wanted from the showroom and take
I
it home with me and then they dress you.
see.
So a lot of times like, you know, actors for example will have like partnerships with certain designers and they'll be dressed by
Right.
them the entire time, and so there's usually like a fitting ahead of fashion week where you go and sometimes when you see this all the time for like the Oscars and they're like she's wearing custom Margiela. It's like Margiela said to
Mhm.
you, we are going to dress you. And what's interesting about that is when they do custom, you don't get to pick. They say this is what we are making for you and this is what you won't wear.
And you're
Same with
lucky,
like
and you
the Met Gala too. They're like, this is what you're going to wear. You don't have a say. The designers have decided
yeah.
this is what it is. So my guess is for a film like this, in the in universe of it all, it's probably the same thing. The designer says we're going to
Yeah.
dress you. You get there a week early, or you
You're
go a month
coming to our
ahead.
show. Your assistant goes and grabs your stuff from this designer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. I'm so glad you brought up the Met Gala just to jump. Yeah, that tassel fucking jacket. I was like, what is this? But we talk about the Met Gala, and I think this movie is coming out. The Met Gala was Monday, class, if you don't know. And there's been a lot of kind of criticism over the
Mm-hmm.
Bezoses being a part of it, Lauren Sanchez Bezos and Jeff
Mm-hmm.
Bezos. I think they're like some kind of sponsors or something. And it,
They're like the chairs of it this
the
year, I guess.
chair or something with Beyonce, and
Mm-hmm.
people in New York are there are signs all over New York saying like, get out of here, Bezos, we don't like. So
Mm-hmm.
the idea that this film is also on the heels of us saying like we need to be taxing the rich, opulence is
Mm-hmm.
not something we need right now. I think
Yeah.
that's also why for me my internals were like, it's just
Yeah.
not, it's not timely, like I said earlier, because
Yeah.
the Met Gala is like mixed up in it, Anna Wintour is mixed up in it, you know.
Yeah.
So
No, you're totally right. I feel like that would have been a more interesting direction for the film to take versus the sweatshop thing, which was kind of like, again, just happened and then they breezed right by it. They were like, we
it's
wrote an
so true.
article
I
and
mean,
now it's over. Like,
I mean, it's apropos. I mean, that's very
yeah.
America.
Yeah.
You know what
No,
I
it
mean?
is.
So, class, you let us know down here in the comments what you thought of the film. If you haven't seen the film, tell us why you're not going to see the film, and or
Mhm.
DM us, fixitpod at fixitpod, or email us, letmefixitpod@gmail.com.
Now, class, as you know, the midterm elections are right around the corner, and we are determined to do our part to fix this damn country. So, in collaboration with Run for Something, we are very excited to share with you an interview that we did with a Democratic candidate from California that we are super excited about, and we know you will be too. So, let's take a look.
We have another great political guest in session with us today. She is a lifelong Angelino who currently serves as Deputy Attorney General. She has taken on the Trump administration to protect sanctuary cities, defend students and DACA recipients, and to fight the inhumane treatment of immigrants. Her decision to pursue a career in public service came after Prop 8 passed, thank you so much, and took away marriage equality for LGBTQ plus Californians, which included her younger brother. She's now running for LA City Attorney, and we are so excited to talk to her. Please welcome Marissa Roy to the pod. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Oh my gosh, we are so excited. Thank you for making the time to chat with us. Class, we're really about putting our money where our mouth is here on Let Me Fix It. So we are having these discourses with some incredible candidates who've been supported by Run for Something. And as many of you know, Run for Something recruits and provides support for young progressives to run for political office. So one of the first things we wanted to ask you, Marissa, is how you got involved with Run for Something, and what has your experience working with them been like thus far?
Honestly, I got involved with Run for Something way before I ever thought I was going to run for office, because I think, honestly, when we think about how we can make change in our communities, it's at the local level. It's these positions that, frankly, people have never heard of, that have huge impact on our lives. So I just started volunteering in LA, where I grew up, and started helping our wave of progressive candidates. We, in the last 6 years, have had an extraordinary thing happen in LA where we have ousted incumbents. The city council used to be something people didn't pay attention to.
Yeah.
And so it would just be that people were appointing successors. Elections were happening in off years where there was lower voter turnout. And then Councilmember Nithya Raman really became the first Run for Something candidate who ousted an incumbent. And who ran on an unabashedly progressive platform. And then we got Hugo Soto Martinez, we got Aenesis Hernandez, we got Isabel Jurado, whose campaign I worked on as political director. And so really I started getting to know Run for Something really well because they would always support our candidates. And the thing that you don't really realize until you're doing it or you've worked on a campaign is that early support matters so much, because when you are young, when you are progressive, everyone is so quick to say, well, you're not viable.
You can't do it.
Yeah. And so having Run for Something and having this nationwide network shows that, yes, we actually can. And it's that early support that really, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. When people say you're not viable, then you won't be viable. But when people believe in you and believe in you early, that's what gives you the boost. And so that's why I've always loved working with Run for Something. And they've supported so many of the candidates that I've spent hours and hundreds of hours volunteering for.
It's super inspiring. And, I love politics, but I'm nobody's politician. But I'm like, well, maybe, I don't know, because of the support Room for Something, right? And there are a lot of amazing candidates like yourself who already have experience, who just need to be tapped and given a little bit more support. Case in point, you're no stranger to the LA City Attorney's Office. You worked there from 2017 to 2018, and you won a couple of settlements for employees. So having been such a successful advocate for the office, what are some ways you'd like to change or things you like to implement if you become the LA City Attorney?
Well, here's the extraordinary thing about the LA City Attorney's Office. It has the power under state law to sue any business for anything unlawful, unfair, or deceptive. And when I say anything unlawful, I mean literally anything. So the landlords who are unlawfully evicting people, the companies that are not paying people minimum wage or, not providing safe workplaces, the consumer scams that we get all the time that are illegal, like all of those, abusive.
Blowing up my phone.
Right. It's illegal. It's illegal.
Totally.
And, you can get really, corporate polluters is a huge one. You can get really creative. There's so many different corporate abuses. But unfortunately, our city attorney really doesn't focus her resources there. She's corporate funded, and a corporate bankruptcy attorney herself. And out of 1,000 legal professionals in the office, less than 5% do the public rights work. And that's what I've been doing my whole career, from fighting wage theft to just fighting a slumlord and winning back over $500,000 a couple months ago, to currently suing Meta, fighting Trump, all of it. It's like there's so much more that this office can do. And I want to transform it into the most significant public interest law office in this city.
I mean, something that I just am so impressed with just in the short time we've gotten to speak to you is you are so clear about what your goals are, and, no fuss, no fluff. And unfortunately, that is rare. I mean, something that we talk about a lot on the pod is, America's slide towards authoritarianism
Yeah.
under Trump. But it does feel like there are a lot of Democratic candidates who are just doing the Trump is bad and at least we're not
Right.
Trump in order to earn people's votes. And yes, we can all agree that Trump is terrible. But a lot of people are feeling disillusioned with our politics and our political leaders because of him, and how people in our government are failing to actually address the issues outside of him, ones that were either pre-existing or they've kind of let slip through the cracks. So how do you think that we should go about restoring our faith in our political leaders and the people that represent us in government?
I mean, I think you're so right that we have to offer a vision. It's not just about fighting something, it's what are you fighting for? So, part of my career and track record has been, fighting the Trump administration, taking him to court. And that's definitely a huge part of what I talk about, because our city attorney isn't suing the Trump administration. So it's how can we sue Trump and prosecute ICE? But then I also think, how can we offer something more? Because that's not the only thing in Los Angeles that we're facing. Like LA is the capital of wage theft. People don't realize this. It's the largest theft.
Can you dig into what wage theft is
Absolutely.
for our audience? We call our audience the class because we are all about learning here.
Yeah.
So please, we are giving you the floor to explain what wage theft is.
Sure. Because, I think probably a lot of people will not realize that they have been victims of wage theft. It's essentially when it can come in a lot of different forms. Maybe you've been denied rest breaks. Maybe you worked overtime and you weren't paid for it. Maybe you are classified as like a gig worker or an independent contractor when you really should be an employee, because the test is whether you're doing the main work of the company subject to that company's direction.
Yeah.
So like one of my first cases was truck drivers at the Port of Los Angeles were being classified as independent contractors. And when you're an independent contractor and not an employee, the company doesn't have to pay you minimum wage, doesn't have to give you benefits, and they can deduct all of these business expenses from you. So these drivers were taking home 10-cent paychecks in some circumstances. It was terrible. And these companies called themselves, as many of the apps do, logistics companies. It's like you are a delivery company. You are coordinating delivery of goods. So these drivers are essential workers to your company mission and therefore should be employees. It's a huge loophole that, again, a lot of the apps use. They say they're just tech companies or just logistics providers, but they are providing these services off the backs of people who are being misclassified, not paid minimum wage. If you're a worker who's paid per trip or per good or per delivery instead of minimum wage, you are probably a victim of wage theft. And the thing is, so many people are victims, but often unable to advocate for their rights, because these are the very people who are being stretched, who are having to work 3 jobs. So when are they going to have time to get a lawyer? It doesn't make sense. And
they can't afford one. They're afraid to say something because then of retribution and losing their job in the process.
Yeah, and that's exactly why government attorneys need to be active in this space. Like my car wash case, which is one of my favorite cases I've ever done, it was against 2 car washes paying workers as little as $4.50 an hour. All the workers were undocumented. So they knew they weren't getting paid minimum wage, but they were getting threatened with immigration consequences.
Wow.
But when we filed the lawsuit, we file as the people of the state of California. It's complete anonymity, total protection. And we were able to, in 9 months, get them a settlement that got them each between $10,000 and $40,000.
Wow.
And it's awesome. And I just think if there's something that LA needs, it's that times 100. So we just need to scale that up, because when we think about the vision we're offering people of like how government can work for them, it's government taking on the fights that you shouldn't be expected to bear alone, honestly.
Yeah, I the idea that the way government functions is a big conversation we have. And I think we've just thought of like government just functions. No, to your point, government functions for us.
For
Right?
us.
It's
Right,
supposed to
Y'all work
we,
for
right.
us.
right. We
We pay
employ
taxes.
that part, you know. One of the big things in your platform is homelessness and the homelessness
Mhm.
crisis, right? We know that the leading causes of homelessness are not only affordability, but substance issues and mental health issues. Governor
Yeah.
Gavin Newsom has made homelessness encampment sweeps a big part of his agenda, which a lot of people have criticized. A lot of homelessness advocates, critics argue that the policy criminalizes homelessness, destroys personal property, and displaces vulnerable residents without offering long-term housing solutions. Newsom maintains that, you know, what they're trying to do is connect people with care and services that they need, at the risk of sounding glib, what they need is a home, right?
Right,
Right.
right.
But
Yeah.
one of the things I just read that I think is really interesting is that Finland has a homelessness is an issue around the world, but they have this housing first policy where they have
Yeah.
social services give everyone a home who needs it, no matter, and then they deal with the substance abuse, the health issue,
Right.
the mental health issues, right? And they've seen a year-over-year drop in homelessness. They've actually made money. The country has made money as a result of this because they don't have to have overextend into social services. Now, California's population is 8 times that of Finland, so I concede that,
Yeah.
right? But tell us about some ways you think the Los Angeles City Attorney can affect lasting change when it comes to California's unhoused population.
Yeah, I mean, the housing first policies have worked wherever they've been tried, and it just makes sense that rather than, displacing someone further from corner to corner to corner and sinking them deeper into these cycles of criminalization, get them the housing they need and the services they need. And here's where the city attorney can kind of help in 3 ways. We kind of actually have the ability to help at 3 stages in the process. The most important one, which I wish people talked about it more, is that the easiest way to really address our homelessness crisis is prevent people from falling into homelessness in the first place. It is that intervention moment where it is the most cost effective and most helpful and least traumatic. And in LA in particular, we're a majority renter city, and a majority of renters are actually rent burdened. 2/3 of our rental
Yes.
stock. It's
Oof.
true. It's true.
That's me.
I am currently rent burdened.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which
Friends a
means you
Los
spend
Angeles resident. So.
right, which means you spend 1/3 of your income on rent. And 2/3 of our rental stock is big corporate landlords. And what these corporate landlords are doing, in particular, that is really insidious, is that they're engaging in algorithmic price fixing to push rent as high as possible. They're buying up rent stabilized units, then engaging re-tenanting consultants to harass people out of their housing so they can jack it up to market rate. They're using loopholes in state laws. I remember there was a mass eviction a couple of years ago, the largest in our city's history at Barrington Plaza, which is on the west side. And the tenants were organizing, pointing to the fact that this landlord was trying to use a loophole in the state law, a loophole in the Ellis Act, to say that we're going to change the use of the property. But it was clear from the paperwork that they weren't. I helped draft a letter to the city attorney begging her to come in and investigate. She refused because that landlord happened to give $150,000 to her independent expenditure
And
in
this
the
is why
first
people
campaign.
don't like politics.
Exactly. And then magically she did not open an investigation, turned the other way. And that was 700 tenants. And a few of them did stay and they did fight the case and they won. But it is sort of a Pyrrhic victory because so many had had self-evicted. And so I mean, my approach as city attorney would be to investigate those landlords, to initiate lawsuits. I literally just at the end of February wrapped up a lawsuit against a landlord in Northern California, and we won back $500,000 for tenants for unlawful evictions, for habitability violations. We, again, could be scaling this en masse in Los Angeles if we had a city attorney willing to do that work. Because, again, we have council members who are passing great renter protections. The tenant anti-harassment ordinance was the strongest new renter protection in 40 years. But there have been 23,000 complaints and the city attorney's only cited one landlord. So when we do all this work to pass laws, that's just the first step in the process. If you don't have a city attorney enforcing them, they're just protections on paper. And that's the kind of the whole theme of my campaign is let's realize the promise of these good laws.
I
Marissa, you
mean,
are
I'm
a
voting for
pro.
you. I don't
You
even
are
live there.
bold, girl. I live in Los Angeles and I got my ballot.
Yes.
Like, I got my ballot. I'm ready. You are so inspiring. And so, one thing we are very excited to talk to you about here on Let Me Fix It, we try to talk about things that are happening in the news and then we pitch how we would fix it. So, we wanted to talk to you. I'm sure you saw this article recently that revealed that Amazon was colluding with other firms to raise prices. And this is California authorities were the ones that
Yeah.
kind of broke this open, to your point about, the good work that's being done here to actually protect our citizens. So these emails were released by the Attorney General showing that Amazon, that's
That's
right,
right.
colluded with other companies to raise the prices of items, including things like pet treats, khaki
Yeah.
pants, eye drops, other products sold online. Turns out Amazon employees have been repeatedly working with vendors using their platform to push retail vendors like Walmart and Chewy, the pet supply retailer, to set higher prices collectively.
And
Mhm.
Amazon emailed the pet treat manufacturer a list of products with price increases, instructing the vendor, as you noted, Chewy should be aware of this update and follow suit accordingly. Now, in another case, Amazon sent links to Levi's, the apparel giant, showing Dockers khakis pants were sold by Walmart, describing them as styles of concern. The next day, the state officials allege, Levi's reported to Amazon that it talked to Walmart and the big box store chain had partnered with us to raise khaki prices to $29.99 immediately. So we're seeing these type of price gouging instances happening more and more in corporations. Live Nation and Ticketmaster were just found
Yeah.
guilty of operating as a monopoly for overcharging their fans. What are some of your thoughts on how we as consumers personally can push back on this monopolistic behavior? Because it feels a little bit out of our hands. You have a lot of power as an
Yeah.
attorney working in the government. What do we do?
Well, I think it's how the attorneys work together with consumers. Like every single case I've brought, I always like to say, like, I can come up with the legal theory once I know the facts, but it's the unions and the workers that brought me the facts about the misclassification or the minimum wage violations. It's the tenants that I have been working with and going into their homes to observe on the ground what is happening. We build these cases with the people who are impacted. And so one of the things that we can do at the city attorney's office, I mentioned sue any business for anything unlawful, unfair, deceptive. Well, price fixing is pretty unlawful and pretty unfair and pretty deceptive. So just check. We can do all of that. And the city attorney has concurrent powers with the AG. Sorry, I just need to not acronym. The city attorney has concurrent powers with the attorney general in this respect. So I'm in the consumer protection section at the California Department of Justice. So these are cases that are handled by our division, that's handled by the antitrust section. And this is work we could do at the city attorney's office too, because there is such a wealth of it that the California Department of Justice is leading, but it would certainly be helpful if the LA City Attorney did this work too. And building this work with consumers in particular, I want to make sure that the City Attorney's office is very present in people's minds as the office that they can complain to, so that we're building the facts and the complaint databases, and we're able to track companies and be alerted so that we're able to respond proactively, because we can't really do this in a vacuum. We need to be working with consumers to see, what are your experiences? Screenshot things for us. Help us put the case together.
We love a
Yes.
screenshot.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
this is, when after the fires, there was an organization called Rent Brigade that was brilliant. It documented over 1,000 listings where rentals had been increased over 10%, which is, in violation of state law during an emergency. And they gift wrapped it and handed it to the city attorney's office. And, out of 29 million that was price gouged, less than 100,000 was recovered. Only 5 cases were filed by the city attorney's office.
Wow.
But I look at that and I think, what a gift this organization is giving you all of the data. And that's our lawyers, we're good at many things. We're good at arguing. We're good at putting the case together, but we need to work with consumers, with the people, to get an idea of what the facts are on the ground, because you have the insights, something is happening that is wrong. We just need to hear it so that we can fight for you.
I really love that reframe because you are
Hmm.
essentially telling our audience, even if you're not in Los Angeles, no matter where you are, you have power, that
Hmm.
your voice can actually enact change by taking those screenshots. And I always tell our listeners, keep a paper trail. A paper
Yes.
trail is going to
Ooh.
save your life.
Francesca should have been a lawyer.
As per
Yes.
the
It's
last
never too late.
email, I'm gonna forward. I keep a list. I print out my emails. So I really love that you offered some actionable steps that our listeners and consumers can participate in to protect themselves. Unfortunately, you often hear this chalked up to as like, oh, this is the way that business works. As a lawyer, can you help us understand why these types of lawsuits and why these types of antitrust laws are so important?
I mean, they're so important because it's only the way businesses work if we let them. And I will,
Oh, that's a
it's,
bar.
Hmm.
yeah. And here's the thing. The law that gives the California Department of Justice and the LA City Attorney the power to sue any business for anything unlawful, unfair, or deceptive, the name of that law is the Unfair Competition Law, because it's not just about the fact that these practices harm consumers, they harm any business trying to do the right thing, because that
Hmm.
business will get completely outcompete by all of the businesses that are cutting corners.
Yeah.
And so a huge part of this theory is that we need to go after the bad actors so that the good actors have a chance, because how is a small business supposed to compete when Amazon is price fixing?
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's part of using lawsuits to frankly rebalance the scales in favor of consumers, in favor of workers, in favor of renters, and also in favor of the small businesses that are trying to do the right thing. So this isn't the way we have to let businesses operate. Trust me, they're operating at a huge profit margin that is ill-gotten. So it's time to kind of
Mm.
incentivize the right behavior.
Yeah.
I keep talking about the social contract being broken when it comes to corporations and the rest of us, right? Shareholders' profits have always been significant in capitalism, and it'll be here well after we're here. It was here well before we came, right? But it always just seems to be at our expense, at the
Right.
consumer's expense. So I say this somewhat in jest. Why are these corporations so greedy? Why
Yeah.
are they so greedy? Why can't we just, it's a little socialist talk, but why can't we all just split everything, you know?
Mm.
I honestly don't know. I mean, I think that that's a lot of what motivates me, because it's like, well, if you're not going to split everything, we're going to sue you and redistribute the profits. And
Yes.
that's what all my lawsuits, when you think about kind of how like the theories of socialism, there's a lot of ways in which my platform is all about redistribution. It's the wages that were stolen now get put back in workers' pockets.
Hmm.
The amount of rent that was gouged gets given back to the tenant. When corporations pollute in our neighborhoods, we sue them for all of the harm they've caused, and then we reinvest that into greening communities. It's all about going after these, again, ill-gotten gains, ill-gotten profits, and then putting it back into really remediating and restoring the people who have been harmed. And
Mm.
Mm.
so if corporations are not going to do the right thing, the law is actually a really, really powerful way to make them do the right thing, but also then to put that recovery back into the people who have been most impacted.
Ooh,
Marissa, I am so excited to vote for you, girl.
Oh, thank
I'm
I'm
telling
you.
you.
I'm so excited. This was just such an inspiring and an illuminating conversation. We are rooting for you.
Thank you.
Please let our audience know how they can support you, even if they don't live in California. And those of us that do live in California know we've got those primary elections right around the corner. So we are
Yeah.
marking our calendars and making sure that we are ready, but we want to make sure that we can support you in every way possible. So please let our audience know.
Sure. Well, the election is on June 2nd, which is 40 days away. But in Los Angeles and in California, our ballots actually drop on May 4th. So
Oh,
really, the election starts in 2 weeks, and there'll be about a month of voting. And what's really, what's difficult about this role and race in particular, this is a citywide race for a position no one has ever heard of.
Yeah.
And when they do hear about it, when people get that light bulb moment and they're like, wait a minute, our city attorney could be suing Trump. Wait a minute, our city attorney could be suing my bad landlord. Wait a minute, what? It's
Yeah.
so exciting. And I love that moment with people. And I love being able, just talking about the distrust in politicians. I feel like sometimes politicians come around on these campaigns, and I've heard it so much, and they promise and they promise and they promise. I think what I also appreciate is, for anyone skeptical, I can just point them to a case I've already done. Like
Yeah.
I've sued Trump. I've sued the bad landlords.
Check the receipts.
Right.
Receipts.
Everything I'm saying I want to do is just like, let's just scale up what I've done in my career times about 100, but it's all possible. Nothing I am saying, I always kind of joke, my platform is profoundly unoriginal. It's just let's do this work. And so when people hear about this race, they get so excited. They just need to hear. And so I think what I would say to anyone listening, wherever you are, you can follow us on Instagram at Marissa Roy _LA. Really spread the word and help kind of uplift for people. And if you live in Los Angeles in particular, tell your friends that this might be one of the most important races on the ballot, because it's not just about adding another Congress member to get to a majority. We flipped this seat and we're in court against the Trump administration the next day. So it is really, really critical that people know that the city attorney can be like as exciting a position as any of these positions, and just helping people understand that whatever they care about most, the city attorney probably has a really important impact on their life. And so we're doing that. If you go to my website at marissaroy.com, you can also click on volunteer opportunities. Of course, small dollar donations help. They're matched 6-1 in the city of Los Angeles. So if you live in LA and donate $5, the city will chip in 30. It's a huge help for grassroots candidates. That's really, again, one of the ways that young progressives have been successful. And I think just getting the word out is the main thing, as far and wide as you can.
We are so glad that we were able to contribute in this way, because
For real.
we believe in you, we believe in your platform, and we're just so thankful that you were able to spend some time with us today.
This was so much fun, and thank you all for getting excited about the law. Lawyers can be cool too.
Yeah.
We get a bad rap, but we can be cool too.
Absolutely. Advocates as well, right?
Yes.
Thank you so much.
But I just got my ballot in the mail this weekend. There is like a bajillion candidates in California, and one of them I will not be voting for is fucking Spencer Pratt, but I will be voting for Marissa Roy. You know that he's running for governor?
That is so hilarious. That is so funny.
Yeah, no, he sucks.
Anybody can do it, class. You can do it too.
Right. Well, you know what? And that's a good segue to, again, just say thank you again to Run for Something, because
Absolutely.
they are doing the work to get more young people, more left-leaning people involved in our political system. And, you know, with everything that's been happening with the freaking Voting Rights Act being dismantled,
Ugh.
now more than ever, we need people. We need people to step up and carry the mantle and, you know, do the right thing to try and fix this country.
And can I say just one thing about the Voting Rights Act,
Please.
friends? Like, I don't know all of it, but I do know that the Supreme Court in different iterations has gutted it, right? And so to Fran's point, we actually really do have to galvanize. We do have to vote, you guys. We have to vote these people out of office, because we're losing it. We're really losing the democracy. And full transparency, I am one of those people that goes, hey, we weren't a full democracy until 1965, when the Civil Rights Act was passed, when we all could vote, and they've just gutted it. They've just taken that away. So we actually have to start galvanizing and fighting again, because I just feel like we're in trouble, man. And we've been saying that for a minute, not to be Debbie Downer, but like it's for real now.
No, it's so real. And I think that is all the more reason that we are trying to do our part here on Let Me Fix It. And we're encouraging people to make sure that you are registered, make sure you know where to vote, make sure you have it on your calendar. Yes. If you can volunteer, if you can phone bank, if you can, you know, go through your phone and call some people, text some people, talk to your family members, like really try to drum up, you know, your community and say, like, we have to do something about this. We need a plan to vote. Again, it's not the end all be all, but it is very important stuff. All right, so let's go and jump into comments from the class. We always love hearing from you. Delon, is it okay if I go first?
Yeah, sure.
This one comes from Moy Thoughts, and it says, also, I just want to say, Francesca and Delon, you are doing important things with this podcast. Sadly, art, visual, film, theater, music, culturally just doesn't occupy the same space it did in past decades. Community is feeding people's souls right now, the way that art did previously, through online, though online content doesn't provide the same dopamine hit as a poster, a billboard, or a store window display. You are a meaningful part of people's lives during a very dark time in the world. So nice.
Thank you so much for that. Thank
Yeah.
you so, so very much for that. Like we've been doing this. I talk about this podcast a lot. I actually was just at a bar near my house, a queer bar near my house, and this guy was
Mm.
staring at me.
Mm.
And I was like, you gotta stop it.
Mm.
But then he came up to me, he was like, I listen to your podcast religiously every week. I was like, oh my God, are you serious? He was like, yes, I'm so gagged. I was like, that's so great.
Mm.
So thank you to all of you who sit down at the class. But I just like, we've been doing it for a while, and it's you and
Mhm.
I, shit that we would be doing anyway. I love that we're building community here, and it's clearly necessary. And I also just love that we get to share so much of our friendship and who we
Yeah.
are and create more community, you know?
Mhm. Yeah.
That's actually a really great segue to the comment that I had. You'll have to forgive
Sure.
me because I did not copy this person's name.
Okay.
But I will find it. This person says, this was in regard to me saying adulthood is hard.
Mhm.
But they say, I didn't know it was going to be this hard too. As a kid and teenager, I thought it would all make at least more sense, and I'd have control when I was an adult. Wrong. Your friendship and the way you're there for each other is beautiful to see. I definitely am going to be joining you for the artist way. I'm so used to doing what I have to do to keep going. Hey, come on now, and hard copy too, okay? They say, I'm so used to doing what I have to do to keep going and survive. I want to do something for myself, something freeing.
Mm.
Come on.
Yes. I mean, that is a perfect plug to remind folks. The week of May 11th, which is next week, we are starting the Artist Way. We got so many emails about it, Delon. And all you have to do is just read along with us and do the exercises of the book. We're going to put out a video in addition to our Wednesday episode. I think I'm going to try and post it on like Sunday. So it's a reflection of the week prior. There'll be a short little mini, like free flowing episode where we'll just talk about the things that we did that week, the challenges that we had. And yeah, I mean, these are all related to the idea of like starting community, giving back to ourselves, pouring into ourselves and our creative power. We really need it.
We really do need it, especially right now. That comment was from So Reads.
Oh, perfect.
So thank you, So Reads. The other thing about it is we're going to get to this in a second, but I'm feeling different. I'm
You
feeling
are?
different.
Is that
Well,
Kalanick?
about the Sometimes it just comes out of me. Sometimes I don't know where it comes from. It just comes out of me. Oh my God. So stupid. I feel like the artist's way. The artist's way is like really about to change something. I feel a
Yeah.
change within me.
Yeah.
Donald Wicked. Something has changed within me. Yeah, so I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
Actually, that's actually a beautiful segue to our next segment. Now it's time for everybody's favorite segment, the Glow Up, where we give props to those who've turned themselves around without our help. Fran, do you want to go first? Do you want me to?
Yes, I would like to go first. This glow up came to us in our inbox over on Instagram at Fixipod from Patty. She sent us an article that said that Pizza Hut's Book It, the summer reading program, is returning this year. If you remember, class, if you are new here, something that consistently happens on this podcast is we predict the future. Now, what I have not predicted is me winning $1 million on the lotto. We have predicted so many things, but if you are new here, there was a few episodes back that Delon talked about literacy. What I forget how this came up. You were talking about people not being able to read as a fix.
Just about Americans being stupid.
About Americans being stupid. Yeah. And I said Pizza Hut needs to bring back the Book It program where you would get a pizza if you read a certain number of books. And Patty said, guess what, girl? Pizza Hut heard you because they are bringing it back for the summer. It is available for kids pre-K through 6th grade, starting June 1st to August 31st. There is a Book It app, okay, 2026. We are tracking the books on your phone. If you hit
see that Devil Wears
reading...
Prada? You see how they did that?
Seamless. Readers who hit their milestones will be provided a digital reading award certificate, and they will get 1 topping personal pan pizza from Pizza Hut. Now,
wait, now not a personal pan.
That's what it always was.
Was it always a personal pan?
Delon, it's not for adults. It's for children.
You're right.
I want me pizza big. Me big man eat
come
pizza.
on. No, not a Neanderthal cookie monster. Wait. No, you know what my thought process was, though, Francesca?
What?
It was, oh, I would get a pizza and I would share it with my class. I thought it was in the class.
No.
Because that's how giving and empathetic
Y'all
and
badass
loving
little
I am.
kids. If y'all don't read, only a pizza for the kids who do. It's also a summer program. It's for summertime. So they are.
Heard. Okay. So
You want to talk about people being stupid.
What are these noises? Help me. I mean, we should do something for adult literacy too here. Because
yes.
I was just about Americans being dumb, but it was just about the literacy rate in this country, which is extremely low, right? It's just terribly low.
Yeah. We need it for everybody. But my pitch was we needed to like give you a discount on some bills. I don't want a pizza.
Pay my Verizon bill, girl.
Literally give me, like take something off this electric bill. Pay for my gym membership. Give me something tangible. Or, I'm not in the AMC movie club, but like give me some free movies,
A free movie, right? Because we know you don't need no damn pizza. That stomach beep. I'm gonna glow up.
Oh my God.
Girl. I'm right next to you. Shoot.
Listen, let me tell you, I've been trying to work on a joke about this. This is my rough draft. Is I was just thinking, like, I've been dating somebody for it'll be a year next month. And you learn a lot about yourself when you're dating someone. Like, for example, I've learned that I can hold a fart for a whole weekend. I'm not farting when he in here.
So death becomes her, girl. The toxins.
I say, bye, baby. It was great having you here. Close the door.
Wait, I know I love to talk about poop, girl. You don't open the Pandora's box. Wait. Do you poop every day? You do because you work out. Yeah.
I have a squatty.
Oh, you have a squatty. Oh, that squatty's
I'm on a schedule.
Invaluable.
Yeah.
There were some of my girlfriends years ago. I haven't heard about it recently. They were saying, "Oh no, sometimes I'll go a day without pooping." A day?
No.
Sometimes I poop twice in a day. I can't wait to poop. It is and I don't poop in public a lot. So.
Oh no. Well, and to bring it back to the relationship thing. I have a second bathroom, not to brag, and I am convinced that has strengthened my relationship. I said, you go over there. You don't do that. You don't do that in my bathroom.
Class friend has an ensuite, so that bathroom's right next to that bedroom.
No. Get up and go to your bathroom. Go to Flex's bathroom because that's where his little bowl of food is. You don't do that in here.
Oh my gosh. She said, no, wait.
All right, go ahead. Your glow up, Delon. What is it?
So my glow up, I don't normally do this. So this is, I think, 2 weeks in a row. I'm giving it to me.
Ooh.
Today was my last day of classes for the semester. So I'm feeling
that's why you giving us a fit.
She's on.
Yes.
It was a good semester. I love teaching. But I'm headed toward the summer. I'm still working because I have, I'm an actor. I have shows to do this summer because you still have to make money. Still has to work. But a part of this feeling that I was just kind of talking about is, so we're starting the Artist's Way next week on May 11th, not March, May 11th. But I kind of had started the morning pages before because I was kind of consternated a little bit. And I was like,
what does consternated mean?
Oh God, this man and these words. It's like constipated almost.
Oh.
It means like I was like kind of brooding. I was anxious,
Yes.
I was concerned.
Yes.
I was like, and I think it was the end of the semester. Yeah. I had a big project that I did, this semester. I directed Urinetown, like I said. And after that closed, I really didn't know what to do with myself. I had a lot of free time. And so I was waking up and doing my little workout in the morning. And then I was like, let me just sit down with this coffee and like do these pages. I'm also taking piano lessons, so I was like, Mina loves a class.
He loves a class.
I take my little piano, do my little piano lesson. And then I was writing these morning pages. And you're a journaler, Francesca.
Mm-hmm.
And I have had therapists for years being like, you should journal, you should journal. I'm like, oh, I don't have time. Now that I knew that we were going into it, kind of preempting, thinking this is the morning pages is
Yeah.
going to be difficult for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've
Oh,
gone
he's
into
writing.
it being like, oh my God. And here's the thing, y'all who are journalers, you're gonna be like, you're so stupid. Guys, it's great to write things down and go, oh, this is only for me. Nobody has, I can tell this book anything.
Delon, that's class. This is the secret to journaling. If you are somebody who's like, I hate journaling, I'm not good at it. The journal is only for you. You do not need to like write it specially. Like sometimes, Delon, my journal is just a list of words. Like not even sentence. Yeah, sometimes it's just like any word that comes to my mind that I'm thinking about. I'm like, a project that I'm working on, a person that I saw recently, somebody I'm fucking mad at, you know, my dog, like money, like it's just like a cloud of words that are on my mind. Sometimes it's just, we talked about this before. My former therapist had me doing future journaling. So like picking a day in the future. Oh, listen, Shawnee, wherever you are, I hope that your ears are ringing. But when I was going through my divorce and I was really, really struggling, she was saying, pick a day 5-10 years from now and write in your journal as if you are in that moment. And what are you doing? And let me tell you, it's very powerful because, you know, while I was going through the divorce, I did my dogs had died and I was living in New York still. And when I go back and I read those future journals, I have the life I journaled about. I said, I live in Los Angeles. I have a little dog. I work in television. I drive a car. I mean, these are basic little things that might not seem like a big deal. But at the time when I felt like my life was just falling apart, I was just like, this is the life that I'm going to have. And these are the things that I'm going to do. And I'm going to work out regularly and I'm going to have lots of friends and I'm going to be social and I'm going to, you know, swim and do these things. Like and I'm going to go on hikes. I like just wrote about what my life in Los Angeles might be like. And now I have that life. And it's a very powerful like manifestation type of thing. And there's some exercises in the Artist Way that are really powerful. Like, again, I only did 5 weeks of it, but thinking about, you know, who are some of the people who have poured into you, but then who are some of the people who you felt like said negative things to you and like, and really like letting them go and like reflecting on like how those people got to you. And so sometimes I write letters in my journal. You know, I'm mad at somebody, and instead of cursing them out, I curse them out right here on the page. Listen here,
that
bitch.
Is...
If you
She said, motherfucker, I'ma cut you down.
Yes.
Like it is so powerful. It is so powerful. And I do remember, I know this is segueing to a little bit of the Artist Way, but it's coming, y'all. So prepare yourself, get your book.
Yeah, whatever.
I remember the morning pages again being a struggle for me. I got to chapter 10 years ago, but even still, that was like every day I would be like, oh, I'm trying to get to that third page. Now I'm like literally scribbling in the edge up the side to get that last sentence in.
Wow.
I mean, maybe it's just like where I'm at, you know, in terms of my age and development, but man, has it been great. So I can't wait to start the Artist Way full-fledged because it does feel like it's going to be a little bit of a break to go, all right, like you said earlier, let's focus on me. Let's do some 3-month work on me, on us collectively, and see where we get, because I'm really poised for it.
Yes, I feel the same way. Class, you got a little taste of it last week when we talked about what we want to get out of it. I predict tears. I am a big crybaby, and I predict that I'm going to be working through stuff, and I think it's going to be really healing and really positive, and I'm so excited that we have created a space through the show where people can share and talk about their challenges and talk about their dreams and know that this is a safe place to do it. So class, thank you for your excitement. We are ready to dig in next week. This has been a great episode. I'm really excited about us doing these Run for Something interviews. More to come. Thank you to Marissa Roy and her team and the Run for Something folks. Please support her. Check out the video description box and let us know if you have a TV show, a movie, or an article that you would like us to review on the podcast. You can email us, lemmefixitpod@gmail.com, or hit us up over on Instagram @fixitpod.
And if you are new here, welcome to the class. Make sure to hit that notification bell if you want to know when we drop episodes every Wednesday at noon. We also have a live chat that is really, really active and cute when we do drop episodes. So get that notification bell. And if you like what you see, subscribe, because we want you to stick around and stay. We appreciate you being here. I'm Delon.
Yes. I'm Francesca, and this was Lemme. Look, I'm Delon. I have a cowl neck on.